Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samavitayuyutsavaha. Assembled on the battlefield, field of Dharma, the Kuru's land. Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kimakurvata Sanjaya. There stand my sons and Pandu's sons. What did they do, O Sanjaya? Dhritarashtra said, assembled on the battlefield, field of Dharma, the Kuru's land, there stand my sons and Pandu's sons. What did they do, O Sanjaya? Sanjaya said, seeing the Pandavas' forces drawn for battle, prepared for war, Prince Duryodhana then approached his teacher Drona, and he said, behold, O Master, standing here, the mighty troops of Pandu's sons, organized by your shrewd pupil, Drishtadyumna, Drupada's son. Archers bold who in war can match even Bhima and Arjuna, Abhimanyu, Virata too, all of them mighty warrior chiefs. O Drona, may you now observe our own warriors illustrious, Bhishma, Karna, Ashwatthama, and Kripa the victorious. Many other heroes stand here who have staked their own lives for me, equipped with weapons of all kinds, highly skilled in the art of war. The strength of our own troops is vast. Bhishma protects them all from harm, but their troops' might is limited, even though Bhima guards them all. Then the conches and kettle drums, cymbals, tabors, and trumpets shrill, all resounded quite suddenly, blaring forth so tumultuous. In a glorious chariot, to which white stallions had been yoked, stood Lord Krishna and Arjuna. On holy conches they did blow, Yudhishthira and Bhima too, Abhimanyu and Drupada, Drishtadyumna and Shikhandi. Upon great conch shells they all blew. The hearts of Dhritarashtra's sons were shattered by the dreadful roar, blaring loudly, resounding far through the sky and around the earth. Then seeing Dhritarashtra's sons, their swords raised high, prepared to fight, Arjuna, taking up his bow, addressed Lord Krishna with these words. Arjuna said, O Krishna, steer our chariot between both armies gathered here, so I can see those eager to fight, whom I must now engage in war. Sanjaya said, Arjuna then beheld them all, his uncles, teachers, brothers too, nephews, cousins, and grandfathers, sons and grandsons, and friends as well. He surveyed all those gathered near, amassed in armies on both sides, then with his great compassion stirred, Arjuna said in deep despair, Arjuna said, O Krishna, seeing my own folk here assembled, eager to fight, my body shakes, my limbs fall limp, my mouth is parched, my hair on end, my bow slips from my quaking hand, and my skin seems to burn with fire. My mind is spinning round and round, no longer can I even stand. Our own teachers and relatives, for whom we are prepared to fight, all stand arrayed for battle here, giving up their own lives and wealth. I do not want to slaughter them, even if I am slain instead, since after killing our own folk, how could we live in happiness? How could we not be wise enough to turn back from this dreadful sin by discerning the awful wrong of destroying our family? If our family is destroyed, ancient dharma will perish too, and when that dharma has been lost, a dharma will prevail for all. The social order will decline, and our women will be defiled. Those whose clans are corrupted thus are damned to hell, so we have heard. Oh, alas, we are now prepared to commit such a grievous sin, driven to slay our kith and kin by our greed to reclaim the throne. If Dhritarashtra's well-armed sons were to slay me while I did stand unarmed, resisting not at all, this would be far better for me. Sanjaya said, Arjuna, having spoken thus, slumped down upon the chariot seat, casting off his arrows and bow, afflicted by great misery. Sanjaya said, then Lord Krishna did thus address Arjuna, sunk in deep despair, with eyes downcast and full of tears, overcome by his tenderness. The blessed Lord said, O Arjuna, how can you be disheartened at this crucial time? Your impious and shameful mood will bring you down in great disgrace. Yield not to this unmanliness, for it befits you not at all. Cast off this mean faint-heartedness. Arise and fight, O Arjuna. Arjuna said, O Krishna, how can I oppose Bhishma and Drona in this war? How can I pierce with arrows sharp those worthy of my reverence? rather than slaying such great men. Better to live a life of alms, since by killing them I would gain their wealth and treasures stained with blood. By weakness I am overcome. As to dharma I am confused. Tell me for certain what is best. I am your student, teach me please. Sanjaya said, after saying I shall not fight, silently Arjuna did sit. Then Lord Krishna began to speak, with a slight smile upon his lips. The blessed Lord said, you mourn those who need not be mourned, yet you speak words of wisdom too. The truly wise mourn not for those who are dead and those yet to die. Never have I existed not, nor have you, nor these kings of men, nor shall we ever cease to be. In the future, in later lives, the one who in this body dwells, through childhood, youth, and in old age, will then another body gain. In this the wise are not confused. These bodies destined to expire all possess an eternal soul, indestructible beyond thought. Therefore go fight, O Arjuna. Neither born nor subject to death, the soul will never cease to be, eternal and immutable, living on when the body dies, just as one casts away worn clothes, dressing again in new attire. So too, when old bodies expire, a soul acquires others new. Not by weapons can it be pierced, nor by fire can it be burned. Not by waters can it be wet, nor by winds can it withered be. Unmanifest, beyond all thought, unchanging, thus are souls described. Therefore, knowing this to be so, you have no reason now to mourn. Death is certain for all those born. Birth is certain for all who die. Since this is inevitable, you have no reason now to mourn. Also, with your dharma in view, you should remain unwavering, because for warriors nothing is worthier than a righteous war. But if you now refuse to fight in this battle most virtuous, you will forfeit dharma and fame by committing this grievous sin. Great warriors will despise your name, thinking you yielded due to fear. Your enemies with vicious words will degrade you, a dreadful shame. If you die, heaven you will gain. If you win, the kingdom is yours. Therefore stand up, O Arjuna, and be resolved to fight the war. Thus far of wisdom I have spoke, of karma yoga listen now, practicing which you shall be freed from the bondage of all your deeds. those who seek but pleasure and power, attached to Vedic rituals, obsessed with heavenly rewards, their hearts will never be at peace. Like a pond in a mighty flood, water surrounding everywhere, such is the worth of Vedic rites for one who knows the highest truth. Actions alone you can control, but their results you cannot choose. Be not the author of the fruits, yet to inaction be not drawn. Give up attachment to results. Act instead with this attitude. Treat success and failure alike. Yoga is equanimity. Lowly are those who think themselves to be the authors of the fruits. Arjuna, you should seek support in Karma Yoga's principles. By this yoga, the wise renounce attachment to their works' results. Freed from the bondage of rebirth, they reach the state beyond all grief. Arjuna said, O Krishna, please describe to me the nature of enlightened ones. How do the steady-minded speak? How do they sit and move about? The blessed Lord said, O Arjuna, when they forsake all cravings born of their own minds, content in themselves with the self, such are they whose wisdom is firm, with minds untroubled by distress, free from thirst for the world's delights, having no cravings, fear, or rage. Such are they whose wisdom is firm, rejoicing not in pleasant times, nor detesting adversity, free from every attachment here. Such are they whose wisdom is firm, as a tortoise withdraws its limbs. All their senses are drawn away from the objects that they perceive. Such are they whose wisdom is firm, even for those of wisdom vast, who strive to practice self-control. Their minds can be carried away by the senses so turbulent, dwelling on objects in the world. To them attachment does arise. From attachment desire stems forth. From desiring does anger spring. From such anger delusion comes. In delusion values are lost. Then reasoning gets overwhelmed. Finally, the person is lost, but those remaining self-controlled, even when senses clamor strong, free from cravings, despising not, they attain great tranquility. Just as wind carries boats astray, senses can lead wisdom away. Therefore, those whose wisdom is firm restrain their senses constantly. Arjuna said, if you think wisdom does excel, better than acting on desires. O Krishna, why then urge me now to take part in this awful war? Your words seem confusing to me, they appear contradictory. Tell me truly the path for me, by which I gain the highest good. The blessed Lord said, in this world there are but two paths declared by me so long ago. Wisdom for the contemplative, karma yoga for active ones, those who withdraw from worldly acts, yet continue to dwell upon all the pleasures they once enjoyed. Deluded, they live in deceit. But those whose senses are controlled, who work remaining unattached, practicing karma yoga thus, such as they are to be extolled. Fulfill your duties as obliged. Deeds are better than idleness. Give up attachment, do your work as a ritual sacrifice. By sacrifice, the gods are pleased. When pleased, the gods will strengthen you. Serving each other in this way, you shall obtain the highest good. But those who offer not their gifts, yet enjoy what the gods do grant, they are but thieves incurring sin, acting for their own sakes alone. All your duties you must perform without attachment to the fruits. Work instead for the good of all. Great people gained perfection thus. Many are they who emulate the actions of the wisest ones, so you should labor unattached, working for the sake of the world. All works are done according to one's natural abilities. Yet when ego deludes the mind, one thinks, I did it, I am great. But the wise know all actions are based on God-given qualities. Actions depend upon nature, thinking thus they are not attached. Even the wise ones will behave according to their temperaments. To nature, creatures all conform. Their traits can never be repressed. Likes and dislikes can both arise toward the objects that we perceive. Be not influenced by these two, they indeed are your enemies. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what is it that drives some people to commit a sin, even against their own desires, compelled as if coerced by force? The blessed Lord said, it is desire, it is rage, ravenous and malevolent, born of passionate tendencies. Know this to be your enemy. Even the wisdom of the wise is eclipsed by this enemy. A raging foe, intense desire, unquenchable like burning fire. Therefore, Arjuna, from the start, all your senses must you restrain. Destroy this demon of desire that robs you of your wisdom's power. The blessed Lord said, "This yoga I did first impart to the sun god so long ago. He passed it on to Manu then, to Ikshwaku did it descend. Through these teachers, this lineage, the royal sages came to know. But after many eras passed, it appeared lost, O Arjuna. Since you are my devoted friend, today I shall declare to you this ancient wisdom, yogic truth, the greatest secret of them all." Arjuna said, "But your birth here upon this land came later than the sun's first dawn. How then am I to understand that you taught at the very start?" The blessed Lord said, "Many births I have had before, as you have too, O Arjuna. Each of my births I know quite well, but of your births you do not know. I am unchanging and unborn, Lord of all creatures, thus am I, holding nature in my control. By my power I took this form whenever dharma wanes away. In the rise of unrighteousness, O Arjuna, I then return, incarnating myself again, to protect good people from harm, to destroy all the wicked ones, to re-establish dharma here. I am born in age after age. Those who know the reality of my birth and my deeds divine, when their bodies are cast aside, not reborn, they shall come to me, those free from anger, greed, and fear, purified by this wisdom's power, devoted to me totally. Many such reach my state supreme. What is action and its reverse? Even the sages this confused. As to karma I shall explain, through which you will be freed from sin. Those who perform their every deed without desire for the fruits, by the fire of knowledge cleansed, all the sages declare them wise, free from attachment to results, always satisfied, self-content. Even when they engage in work, truly they labor not at all, satisfied with whatever comes, free from envy and prejudice, unchanged in failure and success. By karma they are never bound. They offer fruits their works have reaped, as a sacrifice to the Lord, resolved in wisdom unattached. All their karmas will fade away, some pour oblations into fire, Others sacrifice to the gods, some offer their sense faculties into the fire of self-restraint. Some bear penance as sacrifice, others do yogic exercise, or Vedic chanting study too, or the practice of breath control. Those who partake in sacrifice realize Brahman, eternal God, but those who offer not at all gain nothing here or hereafter. Knowledge is better as a right than material offerings, because such wisdom is the goal to which all offerings will lead. For this knowledge you should inquire with humble heart, prepared to serve. Those who know, perceivers of truth, will impart their wisdom to you, even if you happen to be the worst of sinners in the world. This knowledge, like a floating raft, will carry you across all sin, just as a blazing fire destroys, reducing heaps of wood to ash. So in the fire of knowledge too, all karmas are completely burnt. In the world nothing else exists that purifies as knowledge can. Such knowledge one with faith can gain, and soon attain to peace supreme. Therefore the sword of knowledge wield, sever the doubts within your heart. Follow this yoga faithfully, arise and fight, O Arjuna. Arjuna said, you praised renunciation first, then karma yoga you extolled. Which is the better of these two? O Krishna, tell me what is best. The blessed Lord said, yoga and renunciation both can lead to the supreme goal, but of the two, the best for you is karma yoga's active path, renouncing all for wisdom's sake. The same is gained through yoga too, following either properly. One can obtain the fruits of both. The renounced life is difficult if yoga is not practiced first. Through yoga, one is purified, mastering one's senses and mind. Knowers of truth will think like this: I don't do anything at all, even while seeing or touching, eating, walking, or talking too, giving up yearning for the fruits, knowing all works depend on God. They remain untainted by sin, which falls like dew from lotus leaves. All acts of the body or mind, or the senses or intellect, will help to purify oneself if attachment is given up. Through this knowledge renouncing works, the wise are self-controlled, content in bodies of 9 gates they dwell. neither acting nor causing acts. The inner self is not the cause for action or for agency, nor for the fruits of any work. These all take place naturally. Those whose ignorance of the self has been destroyed, then unto them knowledge, like the dazzling sun, reveals supreme reality. They discern the very same self in a learned and cultured priest, or in a cow or elephant, or a dog eater, not rejoicing when pleasures come, nor cowering in woeful times, with minds unclouded and steadfast. Knowers of God abide in God, such sages, purified of sin, self-controlled, unfettered by doubts, rejoicing in the good of all. They attain utmost peace in God. The blessed Lord said, those who fulfill their duties here, not impelled by the fruits of work, such yogis are renunciates, not those who merely forsake deeds, when they are no longer attached to objects or experience, giving up all other pursuits. In yoga they have mastery, a yogi whose mind is fulfilled by this wisdom, by knowing God, looks the same way on everyone, enemies, friends, sinners and saints. A yogi in deep solitude, whose mind and body are controlled, free from attachment and desire, should meditate upon the self, withdrawing to a wholesome place, neither too lofty nor too low, making a firm seat for oneself, cushioned by grass, deerskin, and cloth, fixing the mind on a single point, sense and thought movements all restrained. Seated there, one should meditate for purity of mind and heart, head, neck, and body held erect, remaining steady, motionless, gazing toward the tip of the nose, looking not at anything else. The yogi, meditating thus, whose mind is always well controlled, attains nirvana, perfect peace, in a state of union with me. Like a lamp in a windless place, does not flicker, the same is true for yogis whose minds are controlled, meditating upon the self. When their thoughts have finally ceased, restrained by meditation strong, seeing the self with watchful minds, in the self they remain content. Having attained that lofty state, no greater gain can they describe. Thus established they will remain, unshaken even by grave pain. So bit by bit withdraw your mind firmly grasping the intellect. Fix your mind on the self alone, thinking not of anything else. Wheresoever your mind might stray, being impulsive and restless, bring your mind back repeatedly. Make it dwell only on the self. Those who always meditate thus easily gain the highest bliss. They see the self in everything, and see everything in the self. Those who perceive me everywhere, and perceive everything in me, constantly abiding in me, such yogis are the best of all. Arjuna said, O Krishna, my mind wanders much. It's stubborn and impassioned too. I find it so hard to control, like trying to restrain the wind. The blessed Lord said, O Arjuna, it's hard indeed to restrain a wandering mind, but with practice and detachment you can bring it under control. Arjuna said, those who from yoga fall away before they gain perfection here, do they not then become lost souls, stranded like isolated clouds? The blessed Lord said, not here nor in their later lives would their efforts ever be lost, because no one who strives for God shall to misfortune fall again. They might go to heavenly worlds and dwell in peace for countless years, or be reborn in a pious home. Such a birth here is rare indeed. Whatever wisdom they once held will be regained in later lives. Then they shall continue again for perfection to further strive. The yogi, when cleansed of all sins by effort and restraint of mind, gains perfection through many births, lastly reaching the goal supreme. The blessed Lord said, O Arjuna, please listen now, so you can know me totally. When you completely understand, nothing here will remain unknown. Among the thousands in the world, just a few for perfection strive. Even then, among those who try, few know me in reality. All beings, everything that is, from my own nature did evolve. I am the source and utmost end of the entire universe. There exists nothing here indeed that transcends me, O Arjuna. The universe is strung on me like pearls upon a single thread. I am the light of sun and moon, and the sweet fragrance of the earth. I am the brilliant glow of fire, and in all creatures I am life. For all beings I am the seed, and the true wisdom of the wise. I am the glory of the great, and the might of the powerful. From my nature all this evolved, from sattva, rajas, and tamas. The world deluded by Maya fails to know me beyond these three. Threefold is my divine Maya. It's difficult to comprehend. Only those who resort to me can hope to ever cross beyond. 4 kinds of people worship me. Among those who do noble works, the desperate, those wanting wealth, seekers of knowledge, and the wise. All the 4 are commendable, yet the wise, they appear to me to be my very self indeed. In me, the highest goal they dwell, but those whose wisdom has been robbed, due to their passionate desires, they worship other gods instead, driven by their own selfishness. Worshipping to fulfill desires, limited are the fruits obtained. Praying to gods, the gods are gained. But those who seek me come to me. To all I am not visible. Hidden by Maya's veiling power, the world deluded knows me not as unborn and immutable. But those, the righteous, free from sin, who worship me wholeheartedly, they know the full reality of karma, Brahman, and the self. Arjuna said, what is Brahman and what is self? What is karma, creation too? At death, when souls continue on, how are you to be realized? The blessed Lord said, Brahman is true reality. Your own real nature is the self. Karma is the cause for rebirth. Creation is all finite things. When souls leave their bodies at death, with their minds fixed on me alone, they all reach my supreme abode. About this fact there is no doubt. At the final moment of death, whatever is then dwelled upon, unto that very state one goes, and is ever absorbed therein. Therefore, at all times constantly, think of me as you fight the war, with your mind always fixed on me. You shall certainly come to me. When dying, those with steadfast minds, devotion, strength, and yogic power, close every doorway to the world, and merge their minds into their hearts, uttering Om, the sacred word, while meditating upon me. leaving their bodies going forth, they reach the highest goal supreme. Down from heaven's highest domains, all creatures do return reborn. But for those who have come to me, there can be no rebirth again. Unchanging hand, unmanifest, thus they call the ultimate goal, reaching which there is no return. That state is my supreme abode. There are two paths, one bright, one dark, thought eternal throughout the world. By one souls go without return, by the other they all come back. Yogis who clearly know these paths into delusion never fall. Therefore, Arjuna, always be steadfast in yoga constantly. The blessed Lord said, "Unto you I shall now declare of all knowledge the most obscure. Knowing this highest sacred truth, you will be freed from suffering. This entire vast universe is pervaded by me unseen. All things exist because of me, but I do not depend on them. Just as the atmosphere above, though enormous, abides in space, in the same way, please understand, everything here abides in me. All creatures at the end of time unto my nature must return. When the world's next cycle begins, once again I will send them forth. Nature, under my sole control, produces everything that is animate and inanimate. Thus the cycle of life proceeds. The ignorant perceive me not, since I assumed a human form. They fail to grasp my higher truth as the great Lord of all that is. But those whose minds are vast indeed recognize my nature divine. They worship me most faithfully, knowing me as the source of all, always chanting my holy names, committed firmly, striving hard, bowing down with great reverence. Ever absorbed, they worship me. Others through knowledge worship me, regarding me in diverse ways as being one or manifold, or manifesting as all forms. I am the rites and sacrifice. I am the fire and offerings. I am the Vedas, mantras too, and the sacred syllable Om. I am the Lord and highest goal, shelter, refuge, and friend as well. Source, sustainer, destroyer too, the everlasting reservoir. Wanting to dwell in heaven's realms, they worship me through Vedic rites. Indra's kingdom they can achieve, and there enjoy divine delights. having enjoyed that paradise, when all their grace has been consumed, they return to this mortal plane. Seeking pleasure they come and go, but those who pray me steadfastly, even those praying other gods, full of faith they all come to me. Even if they break Vedic rules of flower, leaf, water, or fruit, anything given with true love, all such offerings I accept from those whose minds and hearts are pure. Whatever you eat or you do, whatever you give or sacrifice, whatever penance you perform, do as an offering to me. Even if the most wicked ones worship me with one-pointed minds, they soon acquire righteous hearts. None devoted to me can fail. Worship me with your heart and mind. Offer sacrifice and respect. Be devoted entirely. You shall certainly come to me. The Blessed Lord said, O Arjuna, hear once again what I say for your benefit. Neither the gods nor sages know the greatness of my majesty, intelligence, tranquility, patience, truthfulness, charity, fearlessness, equanimity. All these arise from me alone. I am the origin of all. From me everything emanates. Knowing me thus, those worship me who are wise and contemplative. I abide in the hearts of all and destroy their dark ignorance with blazing knowledge shining bright. Through my compassion they are blessed. Arjuna said, highest Brahman, supreme abode, spirit eternal, holy Lord, uncreated, all-powerful, the wise describe you in this way. Everything you have told me now, I believe it to be the truth, yet you alone, through your own self, can know you as you really are. Please completely describe to me all your glories, divine indeed. With them do you pervade the world, and with them you abide therein. What are the many forms in which I am to meditate on you? State your glories explicitly, of hearing them I never tire. The Blessed Lord said, listen, I shall declare for you of my glories divine indeed, only those that are prominent, since my extent is limitless. O Arjuna, I am the Self, abiding in the hearts of all. Indeed, I am their very start, and their middle and end as well. Among all lights, I am the sun. Of the waters, I am the sea. Of all rivers, the great Ganges. Of mountains, the Himalayas. Among all people, I am king. Of all monarchs, the Lord of death. Of animals, the mighty lion. And of weapons, the thunderbolt. Among chief gods, I am Vishnu. Of the sages, Vyasa am I. Of all archers, I am Rama. Of celestials, Narada. Of words, I am the sacred home. Of Vedic hymns, the Gayatri. In each secret silence am I, and in all beings' consciousness. I am the goodness of the good. I am the wisdom of the wise. I am the splendor of the bright. Of all leaders, I am their might. Whatever glories that exist, each powerful and grand indeed, understand clearly whence they come, from just a fraction of my might. Arjuna said, "To indulge me you have revealed the highest secret of yourself, and by these words you have now said, my confusion has been removed. Now if you think it possible for me to see your godly form, O Lord, then unto me reveal your own true everlasting self." The blessed Lord said, "O Arjuna, behold my forms in the hundreds and thousands yet, multifarious, heavenly, of all colors and of all shapes. Behold now the entire world, animate and inanimate, and all else that you wish to see here within this body of mine. But to see me you have no power, your own eyesight is limited. I grant you a vision divine. Now behold my majestic might." Sanjaya said, "O king," after he spoke these words, Sri Krishna, Lord of yogic power, revealed himself to Arjuna, showing his cosmic form supreme. If in the sky 1,000 suns were to rise simultaneously, such would be like the blazing light of the Lord's great magnificence. Arjuna, whose hair stood on end, by amazement was overcome. He bowed his head in reverence and prayerfully addressed the Lord. Arjuna said, "O Lord of all universal form, thy immense vastness I behold. Countless arms, eyes, bellies, and mouths, glaring so bright it hurts my eyes. I see no start, middle, or end. The sun and moon are thy two eyes. Thy flaming mouths devour the worlds, destroying them with scorching heat. From the heavens down to the earth, thy expanse fills the space between. Seeing this dreadful form of thine, all worlds tremble, and so do I. Seeing thy mouths with gaping teeth, blazing like world-destroying fire, I feel bewildered, terrified. O Lord, show mercy unto me. Into thy mouth Dhritarashtra's sons enter along with throngs of kings, Bhishma, Drona, and Karna too. Even our own great warrior chiefs, they quickly race into thy mouth, gaping with ghastly, dreadful teeth. Some men whose heads are crushed remain, sticking out, caught between thy teeth, like rivers flowing to the sea. Or like moths drawn to glowing fire, so to these most courageous men rush to enter thy flaming mouths. Tell me, who art thou, dreadful one? Salutations, have mercy, Lord. I want to comprehend thy truth, but thy ways I don't understand. The blessed Lord said, I am time, destroyer of worlds. I came to decimate these men, all these warriors standing opposed. Even without you they shall die. Therefore stand up, be valorous. Conquer these foes, dominion gain. I have already slain them all. You are merely an instrument. Sanjaya said, having thus heard Lord Krishna's words, Arjuna, trembling with fright, folded his hands and bowed again. Then he spoke, stammering in awe. Arjuna said, Thou art primal, eternal God, in whom the universe abides, supreme abode, knower and known. Thou pervades the entire world. Salutations, salutations, in the thousands, homage to thee. Infinite power, measureless might, thou art total, embracing all. Brashly I took thee as a friend, behaving disrespectfully, ignorant of thy majesty. For that I beg pardon of thee, with my prostrations bowing low. Thy indulgence I beg of thee. Please do be merciful, O Lord, like a father or like a friend. My mind reels from terror and fright, shaken by this fantastic sight. I wish to see thee as before. Please return to thy prior form. The blessed Lord said, being pleased with you, I have shown through my own power this form supreme, brilliant, vast, limitless, foremost, but for you never seen before. Do not tremble, be not confused, seeing my most terrible form. Be of cheer again, free from fear. Behold now my form as it was. Sanjaya said, Lord Krishna, after speaking thus, reappeared in his prior form. having assumed a pleasant guise, he comforted the frightened one. Arjuna said, O Krishna, seeing once again this pleasing human form of yours, my composure has now returned, restored to normal is my mind. The blessed Lord said, this form which you have now beheld is very rare to see indeed. To behold it, even the gods are all yearning eternally. Not by study or discipline, nor charity or sacrifice, can I ever be thus perceived in the way you have now beheld, but through devotion firm and strong can I in my reality be discovered just as I am and be attained, O Arjuna. Arjuna said, who knows yoga the best of all? Those who constantly worship you, endeared to your own form, or those who worship Brahman, formless God? The blessed Lord said, those who meditate constantly, always fixing their minds on me, endowed with faith extremely strong, they are most devoted to me. But those who meditate upon formless Brahman beyond all thought, eternal and immutable, they indeed also realize me with difficulty greater yet. Brahman can be achieved by them, but those who meditate on me are swiftly saved from all distress. Steadfastly fix your mind on me, merge your intellect into me, then you shall dwell in me alone. About this there can be no doubt. If your mind will not dwell on me, through yoga you can come to me. If yoga is too difficult, then dedicate your deeds to me. If that as well you cannot do, then resort to my own technique. Sacrifice the fruits of your work and act with discipline of mind. Better than practice knowledge is, even better to meditate. Better yet to give up work's fruit, for then peace will quickly arise, free from malice toward all that live, friendly and so compassionate, free from pride and possessiveness, patient, steady in joy or pain, the yogi constantly content, self-controlled and of firm resolve, mind and intellect fixed on me. One devoted to me is dear, from whom the world does not shrink back, and does not shrink back from the world, free from elation, anger, fear. One devoted to me is dear, independent, skillful and chaste, untroubled and dispassionate, desisting from all selfish works. One devoted to me is dear, not rejoicing, despising not grieving or desiring more, untouched by fortunes good and bad. One devoted to me is dear, alike toward enemy and friend, the same in honor and disgrace, in cold and heat, pleasure and pain, free from attachments of all kinds, silent, not swayed when praised or blamed, contented with whatever comes, resolute, unattached to home. One devoted to me is dear, those who have heard what I have said, and abide in these timeless truths, full of faith, devoted to me. They are extremely dear to me. Arjuna said, I want to understand these all. What is nature and consciousness? What is the field? Who knows of it? What is knowledge? How is it known? The blessed Lord said, Arjuna, recognize a field, as the body has all that's known. One who perceives the field is called the knower, witness, consciousness. Of each field the knower am I, within all fields I there abide. About the knower and the field, hear briefly what I have to say. The field includes all elements, space, air, fire, water, and earth. Also your body, mind, and heart, senses, and everything perceived. Freedom from pretension and pride, patience, harmlessness, rectitude, toward all your teachers, reverence. Purity, firmness, self-restraint, dispassion toward desired things, freedom from ego, I and mine, attention to the problems of life, birth, death, old age, disease, and pain, absence of all attachment for children, wife, home, and all the rest, persistent equanimity toward enjoyment and suffering, steady devotion unto me with single-minded vigilance, contentment in secluded sites, freedom from craving company, commitment to Vedantic study, and for discovering the truth. To gain knowledge, these are the means, all else leads but to ignorance. What you should know, I shall now state, through which you can overcome death. Brahman, eternal and supreme, beyond being and nothingness, outside and inside of all things, sentient and insentient, much too subtle to be conceived, so remote yet abiding here. undivided, yet in all things, as though divided, thus it seems, sustainer of all that exists, creator and destroyer too. It is the light of every light, shining beyond dark ignorance. It is the knowledge to be known, abiding in the hearts of all. As to nature and consciousness, know that both are beginningless. All that changes, all qualities, arise from nature, know this well. Action, power, and agency, from nature these all emanate. But your feelings, pleasure and pain, all arise due to consciousness. Consciousness in nature abides, sensing whatever happens there. This, the witness perceiving all, is the embodied self supreme. Whatever beings may be born, animate or inanimate, come from the union of the field with the knower with consciousness, knowing the Lord who dwells within the hearts of all identically, remaining when they cease to be. Those who see this, they truly see. All actions done in every way take place due to nature alone. The conscious self remains detached. Those who see this, they truly see. Just as space immaterial pervades all yet is undisturbed, so too the self remains untouched, though pervading the body's form. Just as the earth entirely is illumined by but one sun, so too all matter everywhere is revealed by one consciousness. The Blessed Lord said, "Again I shall declare to you the highest knowledge ultimate, knowing which all the sages reach, the goal supreme from bondage freed. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, these three are qualities from nature born. They all bind the eternal self to the body, this finite form. Sattva, free from impurity, shines so perfect and flawlessly, yet it binds by attaching one to both knowledge and happiness. Rajas, passionate tendencies, born of craving and clinging love, binds every soul embodied here through attachment to selfish works. Tamas, rising from ignorance, causes delusion for mankind. It binds one by attachment to negligence, sleep, and lethargy. Each of these three can dominate if stronger than the other two. When sattva rises prevalent, the light of knowledge will arise. When rajas rises, these ensue, Greed, agitation, and desire, with tamas foremost these emerge. Delusion, error, lethargy, from sattva one gains higher births, and due to rajas mundane births, those remaining in tamas low, to inferior births descend. But when this truth is recognized, these qualities do cause all acts, knowing what is beyond the three, one attains to my state supreme, transcending these three qualities. Embodied souls are then released from pain of birth, death, and old age, attaining immortality. Arjuna said, "By what marks can I recognize those who transcend these qualities? How did they rise above the three? How do they act, O Lord, tell me?" The blessed Lord said, "Observing with indifference, undisturbed by the qualities, knowing the three perform all acts, they remain firm, unwavering, alike in honor and disgrace, the same toward friend and enemy, abandoning all selfish deeds. They transcend the three qualities, those who serve me unceasingly, through devotional practices, transcending all three qualities. In Brahman they are fit to merge." The blessed Lord said, "The tree of life has roots above. Vedic hymns are its many leaves. Branches and roots hang down below into the world of human acts. Its form here cannot be perceived, nor its start, its middle or end. Its trunk, though sturdy, can be cut. By detachment the mighty acts, free from delusion and from pride. With detachment they seek the self, transcending all dualities. They attain the eternal state. There the sun's light can never reach, nor the light of the moon or fire. Reaching there they do not return. That is my own supreme abode. A part of myself in the world has become the eternal soul. Then that part drew unto itself body, mind, and sense faculties, presiding over sight and touch, hearing, taste, and the sense of smell, ruling over the mind as well. It perceives and enjoys all things. It abides in the hearts of all. With eyes of wisdom this is seen, but those deluded and impure cannot see this, though they may strive. The brilliance of the sun above, illumining the world so vast, and the splendor of moon and fire. Understand that light to be mine. My energy pervades the earth, sustaining all the creatures there. I myself nourish every plant, being the sap of life itself. As the digestive fire within, in every creature I abide, united with their life and breath. I consume all the foods they eat, being the source of memory and of knowledge and reasoning. I abide in the hearts of all. Through the Vedas am I thus known. In this world two beings exist, perishing and unperishing. Creatures are all perishable, but their souls perish not at all. Beyond these two is the highest truth. Thus it is called the Self-Supreme. Having pervaded all the worlds, the Lord sustains and blesses all. Since I transcend what perishes, also the imperishable, therefore I am the Self-Supreme, praised in the Vedas and the world. The undiluted know me well, as the highest, the Self-Supreme. Thus enlightened they worship me with their whole hearts and with their minds. O Arjuna, I have declared this most secret teaching of all. Knowing this truth, one can become enlightened and fulfilled in life. The Blessed Lord said, charity, purity of heart, self-control and simplicity, piety and serenity, compassion, freedom from desire, courage, patience and fortitude, modesty and benevolence. O Arjuna, these attributes are known as qualities divine. Arrogance and hypocrisy, vanity and hostility, ignorance and like attitudes are considered demonic traits. Divine traits unto freedom lead, demonic traits in bondage hold. O Arjuna, you need not grieve, you were born with the traits divine. In the world are two kinds of men, the demonic and the divine. Demonic people falsely say the world is godless and unreal. With minds depraved by such wrong views, they ravage the world with brutal acts, driven by unquenchable greed and by arrogance, pride and lust. Bound by cravings 100-fold, compelled by anger and desire, they seek to satisfy their thirst, hoarding wealth gained by unjust means, thinking who is as great as me, led astray by deluded thoughts, ensnared by sensuality. Into terrible hells they fall. I cast those loathsome wicked men into demonic wombs again, deluded in birth after birth. They descend to the lowest plane. Threefold are the main gates to hell. Desire, anger, greed are they. Those free from these tamasic traits can strive to reach the highest goal, but those who scorn the scriptures' rules, heeding their own urges instead, they cannot gain the highest goal, nor perfection or happiness. Therefore let scripture be your guide for what should and should not be done. Knowing the precepts there prescribe, you should act as they so decree. Arjuna said, those who worship with faithful hearts, but ignore the scriptural rules, O Krishna, how is their faith based on sattva, rajas, or tamas? The blessed Lord said, O Arjuna, threefold is faith, according to one's temperament. People are molded by their faith. As they believe, so they become. Those who with sattva are endowed offer their worship to the gods. Those with rajas to spirits give. Those with tamas to hordes of ghosts. Those who perform harsh penances, driven by ego and desire, torturing their own bodies thus, know them to have demonic traits. Sacrifice, penance, charity are also known of as three kinds: sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. To their distinctions listen now. Sacrifice is called sattvic when performed in scriptural accord, not for the sake of gaining grace, but just because it should be done. Sacrifice is rajasic when offered to gain desired ends, or performed with hypocrisy to appear pious and devout. Sacrifice is tamasic when done despising scriptural rules, lacking mantras, devoid of faith, without offering alms and food. Penances are called sattvic when done not for the sake of results. They are rajasic when performed to gain respect or reverence. Penances are tamasic when delusion casts its wicked spell, and one's own body is abused, or harm to others is the goal. Charity is called sattvic when given at proper time and place to a deserving person who has never given gifts to you. Charity is rajasic when given with hopes of recompense, or for gaining heaven's rewards, or when given reluctantly. Charity is tamasic when given at the wrong time or place, or given to unworthy ones, or when given with disrespect. By the sacred invocation, Om Tat Sat, Om, that is the truth. Vedic chanting and sacrifice were thus begun in ancient times. Therefore, Om is recited first before all acts of sacrifice, or of penance or charity, performed as scriptures so ordain. Sacrifice, penance, charity, without devotion, lacking faith, are worthless and will yield no fruits, not here or in one's future lives. Arjuna said, O Krishna, this I want to know, how to discern the difference between surrender of works fruits and renouncing the worldly life. The blessed Lord said, to renounce is to cease from works performed for one's own sake alone. Surrender is to disown the fruits of all deeds as an offering. Sacrifice, penance, charity, these works are not to be renounced. They should be done, not seeking fruits, but because they have been ordained. Renouncing obligated works, thinking wrongly is tamasic. Avoiding duties so despised, fearing distress is rajasic. Performing actions as enjoined, without attachment to their fruits, deeming them duties to be done. To renounce thus is sattva's view, not avoiding repulsive tasks, nor attached to delightful deeds, giving up the fruits of one's works. Such is a true renunciate. Deluded people take the self to be the agent of all works, but those, the wise and egoless, are not bound by their deeds at all. Those who worship the source of all, pervading the whole universe, by fulfilling duties enjoined, unto perfection they attain. Doing one's duties poorly, though, surpasses doing others well. Performing deeds rightly ordained, no one ever commits a sin. Duties should never be forsworn, even when problems interfere. All deeds entail some obstacles, like a fire enshrouded by smoke. Those free from all attachments here, disciplined and ever content, having ceased from all selfish deeds, they have renounced most perfectly. O Arjuna, now learn from me how one can gain the perfect state, how Brahman is to be obtained. Through this knowledge, the ultimate, those endowed with intelligence self-controlled and dispassionate, purified and contemplative. In Brahman they are fit to merge, absorbed in Brahman they attain supreme devotion unto me. Thus they know my reality, and thereafter they enter me. Go for refuge to that alone with your whole heart, O Arjuna. Then being blessed you will attain the state of endless peace supreme. Thus unto you I have explained. Of all knowledge the most concealed, reflect on this entirely, then go and do whatever you choose. Be devoted and worship me. Offer sacrifice unto me, then you shall surely come to me. This I promise, for you are dear. Abandon every other goal, and seek refuge in me alone. I shall release you from all sin. Be not sorrowful, do not grieve. Arjuna, have you listened now? With a completely focused mind, has your ignorance been destroyed? Has your confusion been removed? Arjuna said, O Krishna, by your holy grace, my confusion has been destroyed, and my composure has returned. As you command, so shall I do. Sanjaya said, thus I heard this great dialogue of Lord Krishna and Arjuna. This secret yoga I did hear directly from the Lord himself. O King, as I recall once more that remarkable dialogue, I am astonished and amazed. I rejoice again and again where Krishna, Lord of Yoga, is with the great archer Arjuna. There is glory, victory, wealth, and most certainly righteousness.